Hello Sumate, you're welcome back. So here is the part 2, the continuation of the video. So here I will be teaching us how to place your net correctly to give you this fluffiness that you see. So here this part 2 is majorly about the sewing of the skirt. So if you want to see how I got it this way, you stick around while we get right into it. Like the placement of the net, everything, the zipper, how I did the inner and the zipper to be inseam and all that, how I turned with the lining, everything will be showed here. So I've gone ahead to draw the gathers, and this is what it looks like. So for this one, I will divide it into two. I'll divide this one into two, so I'm just going to open it up like this. So here is the thing. Let me take it closer for us to see. So here is the thing. You can see the lines, right? The lines are still there. And I have about how many gathers? This is the second one. I have 4 in total. So what I will do, I will sew the first 3 from here. Then the last one, which is the shorter part that we cut yesterday, will be on the last line. Hope you understand what I'm explaining. So here is how you place it if you want to place it. And this zipper part, you must not exceed it. So we'll have to mark the 1.5. Hope you know that this is the zipper allowance that we left, and it's 1.5. So I will just mark the 1.5 and I will roll it upwards because the net will be facing. It's not going to exceed that part. Hope you get. So these are the lines. These are the lines that will be placing the net on, but it will not pass here. So that's why I'm marking it. I'll also mark this other side so that I will not pass. You don't have to go through all of this process. It's just to be sure of what I'm doing, but if you can gauge it, you don't have to be doing all of the plenty marking I've been doing. So can you see it? Can you see it? So I've gone ahead to mark it. I will just spread it now. I'll be picking this one to go around it. But number one thing you should know, you should have in mind when doing it is that we are not going to be starting from this first line, because if we start from this first line, it will be difficult to attach this remaining 2 lines because they are very close, right? So we'll be starting from the second line. Why are we starting from the second line? It's because you don't place your net like this when you are attaching your net to the base. You don't place it like this. If you really want your net to be bouncing, to give it that fullness, don't place your net like this. You're going to be turning it the other way around. This is how you'll be placing it. We'll be working with the second line now. We don't want to start with this, because this first line, your net will be placed exactly like this, because you know you'll be putting your band. Do you get? So the net is going to be exactly like this for the first line, but the rest is not going to be like this. The rest from the second line, you'll be placing your net this way. This is how you'll be placing your net, upside down. Do you get? Just place it directly on the line like that. So if you can pin it down, then you run your stitch. Then when you're done, you turn it this way. That's what gives it this very puffy nature that you see. So that's how to do it. Okay, I will have to shift it a bit so that I can see. So like I was saying, the zipper part, I've gone ahead to mark the 1.5 on both sides because my net will not exceed the 1.5 for zipper. So After that, now let's talk about the placing of the net. I'll just do the show us the placing of the net. I'll go to my sewing machine, attach the net, come back and show us. So for the first line and this line and the second one, I'll be showing us how to do it. Then I'll go to my machine and sew it. After sewing it down, then I'll come and show us what it looks like. So I don't know if you can still see the lines, but the lines are still very, very obvious here. I can see the lines clearly. So I'm just highlighting it so that the camera can pick it. Okay, so these are the lines. Now this is the first line. We'll not be starting with the first line, because the first line we're going to be placing the net that will be on the first line is going to be like this. Do you get? So if you place it like this, you will not be able to see space to fix the other two that we're fixing after this first one, right? So I will be starting my this thing from the second line. This line close to this first line, this second line, this is where I will be starting from. The reason why I'm starting from there, you'll be wondering, why don't I start from the one below? No, I'm starting from the second one, because this is how it is only the first line that you place your net like this to sew. Only the first line your net will face up like this when you're sewing. The rest are going like this. The rest are going like this. Do you get? So after sewing, you flip it over. That's what gives it the puffiness you see. That's what makes it really very big. You get? So this is how to do it. I hope you understand what I'm showing us. So what I will do here now is that I will just go and pin this net on the second line like this. Pin it on it. Then I will come and show us. Or probably I will just run it through it and come and show us to save our time and our space. Don't forget that from the second line, you don't place it like this from the second line. Only the first line will have the net like this. But from the second line, you're turning it upside down. We're placing it like this. From the second line, we'll place it like this on the second line to sew it round. Do you get? So I will just go to the sewing machine and do that. When I'm done, I'll come and show us. So I've gone ahead to run it round it. Let me turn it this way for us to see. I've gone ahead to run it round. Can you see? Can you see? It's facing this other side, right? So by the time we are done now, you'll be flipping it this way. Do you get? Hope you understand. This is how you'll be flipping it. Now you can see that the first line is still here. The one we'll be putting on the first line will be the last one we'll be attaching. Hope you understand. So this is it. So for every other line that I have to add nets to, this is how I'll be doing it. My nets will be coming like this. Like this. Then when I'm done, I'll flip it. So I'll just go ahead and fix the remaining two at the bottom. Then I'll come back and show us. So we can do the first line also. So this is it. You can see how nice it is. Can you see it? So this is exactly what we are doing. I'll just go ahead, attach the rest to it, and come and show us. I've attached to the 3 lines. It's remained this first line. Can you see how full it is? Can you see how puffy it is? It is because we turn it the other way around. So let me show us what I have done so far. This is the other one. Do you see it? Sorry. Can you see it? Then I turned. This one, the same thing. Can you see it? Then this one also, the same thing. Can you see it? So it is the flipping over. So imagine if you are doing everything like this now. It's just going to be so arranged and straight. It is the flipping over that gives it this very fullness. It is the flipping that gives it that fullness. So this last one that is meant to be here, and I will bring it now and show us how to do it. You can see how full it is. Can you see how full and nice it is looking? It came out well. It's already puffy. So this is the last one I'm placing on it. This one will be, don't forget that this one we're not flipping it, so we're just placing it directly on it like this. Just like you attach your normal net, I'll just place it directly. And you can see that this 1.5 of an inch, I didn't pass it. Can you see? So when I want to attach my zipper now, the 1.5 is still available for me to fix my zipper. So this one now, I'll just go ahead and attach it round like this. So we're not using the other method we use for the rest for this one. So I'll just go ahead and do that so we can I will come back so we can fix the zip. So I've attached it, the last one to it. I've attached the last one to it. You can see what it looks like. So now we need to turn this thing with a lining using the zipper. If you don't want to go through that stress, you can just attach your band here like that and that's all. But then you don't want to deliver your work to your client like this, where all the threads, like all the lines inside will be visible, right? So that's why we're going to be turning with the lining. So the next step of this work is the zipper and the lining. Then we're done. We'll now move to the sleeve. So I've gone ahead to turn to attach all the net to the base. Now, like I was saying, you cannot just leave it like this, right? If you don't want to go through the stress of turning with this thing, you can just attach your zip here, put your band. But you cannot make a dress for a client and you leave the inside with the thread, the stitches showing like that. So we are going to be turning with the lining. So here is the lining I've made. I've gone ahead to run the zipper side also, and I've done the hem also. So what do we have to do? This is the zip I'm using for the skirt. So what I will do now is, I want to fix it like an invisible zip. Do you understand? That's how I want to fix it. This is the zipper allowance I left on both sides. I hope you can see properly. So here is the zipper allowance I left. Hope you can see. So what I will do now, I will place the zipper in between this main base and the lining itself. But first of all, let me arrange the zipper on the base first before I will now use this lining to turn it. So because I want to do it in visible pattern now, I will just turn it in a way that it will be easier for me to use. So I'll just pin it, just pinning it down. I'm following the 1.5 I marked earlier when I was running the side through. So the 1.5 is the guide for me to pin my zipper to. So this is where it stops. So I'll pin it to this point. Don't forget, I'm sewing it like an invisible zipper. So can you see it? Hope you can see it properly. I'll just hold it down very well. Hope you can see it. So the next thing we'll have to do now is, you know, we're using this to turn. So because we're using this to turn, we'll make sure that the right side is facing the right side. This is how it should be. This is the right side of the main base. This is the right side of the lining. So we'll make sure that the right side is facing the right side. I will turn the zipper part to the part I'm working on. So here is the zipper part for the lining part. So let me go ahead and mark the 1.5. So I've marked the 1.5 on both sides. Can you see? So it will also serve as a guide for me as I want to turn with this other one. So I'm just wearing it on it like this, because like I said earlier, the right side has to face right side, the lining right side, the main distance, the right side. So here is the zipper part. So what I will do now, the same pin I've used to hold it down, you can use other pin. If you want to use extra pin, you can use extra pin, but I feel it to be too much. So I'm going to be, do you see what I'm doing? Hope you understand what I'm doing. Just like you want to fix your normal invisible zipper now, I've placed the zipper on this base. Do you get? I've placed the zipper on this base. Now I want to use this lining to turn it, because I want it to be an invisible sewing at the end of the day. Do you get? I want it to be invisible sewing. So I want this zipper now to be in between the lining and this base. Hope you understand. So I will just place it on top. I already secure my zipper to the main base, so I'm just going to place the lining on top. The zipper has to be in between the lining and the main fabric itself. So I'm just removing the pins to pin it back. Do you get? I will make sure that the lining and the base, they are equal this way. Then I will continue to pin it until I'm done. So I'm just making sure that one part is no longer than the other. I want them to be equal. Have you seen it? So by the time I finish sewing now, this is what we have. Do you get? It's just this part that will show by the time we finish sewing. I hope we are really understanding it. So now I'll just go to my sewing machine. I will run a straight stitch to the point where the zipper will end here. I'll just run a straight line to this other side. Then the same thing I've done here, now I will repeat it for this other side, and that was all. We'll just go ahead and fix our band. So this is what I've done. This is what we've been trying to do. Can you see? This is the inside. Don't mind my needle. My needle was tearing on the material. So this is what we're trying to do. This is the inside. You can see how neat it is. And you can see that we've covered it with lining. I went ahead to press the lining on this thing round. So this is the other side, the main part of it. Can you see how nice and neat it is? So the next thing I will go ahead to do is to measure the waist round to add a band to it. And after adding bands to it, that's all. Use your normal waist measurement to add your bands to it, and that's all. So the next step, I will add the band that come and show us, so we can go ahead and do the sleeve. So I've gone ahead to add the band to it. I think we all know how to add a band, to attach band. So this is the next thing I'll be using. If you don't want to use this hook and eye to hold the edge, you can as well just make this part open. Then you pass your elastic through it and you close it back. If you want to use elastic, well, I will advise you not to use elastic, because that white one you saw in the video, I couldn't get a really nice elastic, so after some time it was slacking and it was pulling down. So if you really do not want to use the hook and eye, like the last wedding dress I made for somebody with ball net beneath it, I just sew a rope. I just made a rope, then I pass it through the waist. I made an opening here and I made a rope, then I pass it through the waist. So it was the rope she used to tie it according to her waist size. You see that rope pattern, it is firmer, and after tying it, it is where you leave it, that's where it will stay, it doesn't move. So I will recommend you use a rope. That's if you're wearing it under your normal lace. But if you are using only this net, only the net on top of whatever you're wearing, I will advise you use hook and eye for it to hold it firm to your waist. So that is that about that. So I want to attach this hook and eye to it. After attaching it now, that will be all. So this is how I'm going to be placing it. Or I can decide to do it the other way around, just like this, and we're done. So I'm just going to be tacking it together with my needle and thread, and I will be done. So I'll just go ahead, do that off the camera. I'll come and show us the finished work of the ball. So this is what the final looks like. Hope you can see it.